Hey there, friends. Have you ever noticed how some days it feels like your energy just isn't what it used to be? Maybe you're a little slower climbing the stairs, or that afternoon nap feels more necessary than optional. Well, what if I told you there's a tiny part of your body, something most of us have never even heard of, that could hold the secret to feeling more vibrant, healthy, and yes, maybe even a little younger? Let's talk about telomeres. Now, don't let that word intimidate you. Think of telomeres like the little plastic tips at the ends of your shoelaces, the ones that keep the lace from fraying. In your cells, telomeres do something similar. They protect your DNA. But here's the thing, every time your cells divide, those telomeres get a tiny bit shorter. Over time, that shortening is linked to aging, wrinkles, slower healing, even weaker immunity. Butant, this is a big but scientists are discovering that we might have more control over this process than we ever imagined. So today, let's explore a few simple, everyday habits that could help slow down that shortening, or maybe even lengthen those telomeres. And trust me, these aren't complicated fixes. They're things you can start today, right where you are. Let's begin with something we all love: food. You've probably heard the phrase, "you are what you eat." But when it comes to telomeres, that's especially true. Foods rich in antioxidants like berries, leafy greens, nuts, and even dark chocolate act like little bodyguards for your cells. They fight off damage that can wear down those telomeres. My neighbor Martha started adding a handful of blueberries to her morning oatmeal, and she swears it's given her an extra pep in her step, and research backs her up. One study found that folks who ate a diet high in these foods had telomeres that looked years younger. Now, let's get moving, literally. Exercise isn't just good for your heart or your joints. It's like a love letter to your telomeres. You don't need to run marathons either. A brisk 30-minute walk most days, a gentle swim, or even chair yoga can make a difference. My friend Carl, who's 72, started dancing to his old rock and roll records in the living room just for Funan. He says it's the happiest he's felt in years. Turns out that joy might be protecting his cells too. Studies show regular movement can slow telomere shortening by reducing inflammation and stress. Speaking of stress, oh, that's a big one, but we'll save that for later. For now, I'd love to hear from you. What's your go to healthy meal or favorite way to stay active? Drop a comment below. Your ideas might inspire someone else. And remember, friends, this isn't about turning your life upside down. It's about small, steady steps, a colorful plate, a daily stroll, a little laughter. These things add up. So why not pick one to try this week? Maybe swap that bag of chips for a handful of almonds, or invite a friend for a walk in the park. Your cells and your future self might just thank you. Up next, we'll dig into two more powerful habits that could make a world of difference. One involves something we all struggle with from time to time, and the other? Well, let's just say it's as simple as closing your eyes. But more on that soon. In the meantime, keep those comments coming. I read every single one. And if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It helps me keep creating content that matters to you. Here's to taking life one joyful, healthy step at a time. All right, friends, let's pick up right where we left off. Remember how we talked about stress earlier? Well, here's the thing. Stress isn't just a feeling. It leaves a mark on your cells. When we're stressed, our bodies pump out cortisol, a hormone that's useful in small doses but downright destructive if it sticks around too long. High cortisol? It's like pouring gasoline on the fire of telomere shortening. But don't worry, this isn't a doom and gloom story. In fact, the opposite is true. Managing stress might be one of the most powerful tools we have to protect those precious telomeres. Let me tell you about my friend Ethel. She's 68 and spent years worrying about everything: her grandkids, her health, even the weather forecast. Then her doctor told her about mindfulness. Now she spends just 10 minutes a day sitting quietly, focusing on her breath. She says it's like hitting a reset button. And guess what? Studies show practices like meditation, deep breathing, or even gentle Tai Chi can lower cortisol and slow telomere shortening. You don't need a fancy app or a yoga mat, just a quiet corner and a willingness to try. And here's a tip: gratitude counts too. Writing down 3 things you're thankful for each day, a grandchild's laugh, a good cup of coffee, sunshine on your face, can shift your mindset. It's not about ignoring life's troubles, it's about balancing the scales. Stress might be inevitable, but how we respond to it, that's where the power lies. Now let's talk about something we all crave, but don't always prioritize. Sleep. Oh, I know, those nights when you're staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m. feel endless. But sleep isn't just for rest, it's when your body repairs cells, including those telomeres. Skimp on sleep, and you're essentially robbing your cells of their nightly tune-up. My cousin Herb used to brag about surviving on 5 hours of sleep, until his doctor linked his constant fatigue to shorter telomeres. So Herb made a few changes, dimming the lights an hour before bed, swapping late-night television for a book, and sipping chamomile tea. Within weeks, he was sleeping like a teenager again. Well, almost. The key? Consistency. Going to bed and waking up at the same time, even on weekends, trains your body to unwind. And if you're tempted to scroll your phone in bed, remember those blue lights trick your brain into thinking it's daytime. Not exactly helpful for dozing off. Now, I'm curious, what's your secret for winding down after a long day? Do you have a favorite bedtime ritual or a trick for quieting your mind? Share it in the comments. You never know who might need that advice. And while you're there, if you're finding these tips helpful, give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing. It lets me know you want more content like this and helps keep this community growing. Now let's circle back to something bigger. All these habits, eating well, moving, managing stress, sleeping, aren't just about adding years to your life. They're about adding life to your years, feeling strong enough to play with your grandkids, having the energy to garden, travel, or finally tackle that hobby you've put off. That's the real magic here. But we're not done yet. Coming up, we'll explore 2 more game changers. One involves the people around you because loneliness, it turns out, can be just as harmful as smoking. And the other? It's all about finding purpose, no matter your age. These might sound abstract, but trust me, they're deeply connected to the science of aging well. So stay with me, friends. And in the meantime, why not pick one small thing from today to try? Maybe take 5 deep breaths the next time you feel overwhelmed, or swap that late-night news show for a warm bath. Little by little, you're building a future where you feel like the best version of yourself. And that's something worth celebrating. Welcome back, friends. Let's dive into what might be the most heartwarming part of our conversation, because it turns out staying connected and finding purpose aren't just good for the soul. They're powerful medicine for your cells. First, let's talk about loneliness. Now, I know that word can feel heavy, but here's the truth. Humans are wired for connection, and when we lack it, our bodies feel it deeply. In fact, research shows chronic loneliness can shorten telomeres as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But here's the good news. Even small moments of connection can make a world of difference. Take my buddy Frank, who lost his wife a few years ago. He told me Sundays were the loneliest, until he started joining a weekly coffee group at his local library. Now he's swapping stories with folks who've become like family. He says it's not just the laughter that keeps him going, it's the sense that he belongs. And that feeling, it's like a shield for his health. So if you've been feeling isolated, start small. Call an old friend you've been missing. Join a book club, a gardening group, or even an online community. Even volunteering, passing out meals at a soup kitchen, or reading to kids at the library can weave you back into the fabric of life. Every conversation, every shared smile sends a message to your cells. You matter. Now, let's talk about purpose. Retirement doesn't mean your purpose retires, it just shifts. My Aunt Jenny spent decades teaching high school English. When she retired, she felt adrift, until she started tutoring kids in her neighborhood. Now, she says helping a teenager understand Shakespeare gives her the same spark she felt at 30. And science backs her up. Having a sense of purpose is linked to longer telomeres and a sharper mind. It doesn't have to be grand. Maybe it's tending a garden, mentoring a grandchild, or even writing your life story. What makes you feel needed? That's your purpose. Think about it. When you wake up excited to tackle the day, your body responds. Stress melts, joy rises, and those telomeres, they get a little more resilience. So ask yourself, what lights you up? What makes you feel like you? That's your compass. Now, let's tie this all together. We've covered 6 simple science-backed habits: nourishing your body with colorful foods, moving in ways that bring you joy, managing stress with mindfulness, prioritizing restful sleep, staying connected to others, and nurturing your sense of purpose. These aren't magic tricks, they're choices. Choices that say, I'm worth investing in. And here's the best part. You don't have to do them all at once. Start with one. Maybe today, you'll call a friend you've been missing. Tomorrow, you'll add a handful of spinach to your omelet. Next week, you'll try a gentle yoga class. Small steps add up to big changes. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. What gives you a sense of purpose? How do you stay connected to others? Share your stories in the comments. Your wisdom could be the nudge someone else needs to take that first step. And if this video resonated with you, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. Every click helps this channel grow, so we can keep having these important conversations together. Friends, aging isn't about fighting time. It's about embracing the life you've built and making the most of the days ahead. You've got decades of stories, strength, and love inside you. Let's honor that. Here's to waking up each morning with curiosity, to laughing louder, and to living in a way that makes your cells sing. Thank you for being here. Until next time, keep shining. You've earned every bit of it.